This video is made for review purposes and contains footage from the Walt Disney Treasures collections. Hi, SpongeX here. A while ago, I did a review on 2 volumes of a rare series of collector's DVDs called the Walt Disney Treasures Collection. I reviewed the cartoons featured on Mickey Mouse in Living Color, Volumes 1 and 2. Since then, I was able to save up and I spent a lot of money, nearly $1,000, to get copies of other Walt Disney Treasure DVDs off eBay. A lot of them were used, but there were a few that I was able to get in mint condition. And so those were some of the more expensive ones that I weren't able to find used copies of for a cheaper price. So I was able to get Mickey Mouse in black and white, volumes 1 and 2, which were some of the easier and cheaper ones to get. The complete Goofy collection, which is about $50. Complete Pluto collections 1 and 2, those were about like $40 or $50 each. Silly Symphonies and More Silly Symphonies. I think the first Silly Symphonies was like $40. The More Silly Symphonies one, which is basically volume 2, that one was about like $70. Walt Disney on the Front Lines, which were the Walt Disney World War II propaganda cartoons, that one was about like $60, I think. And all of Donald Duck volumes 1 through 4. And so, the first 2 volumes I was able to get those used for about like $30 each. However, volumes 3 and 4, those were the hardest to get. Volume 3 was like, I think $200, and Volume 4 was $300. So, yeah, that was not fun spending that much money all at once just to get all of these, and Disney really needs to re-release these, for crying out loud. Overall, I had a lot of fun sitting down and watching all these cartoons, and I thought I would go on to continue the series of me reviewing the cartoons featured on the Walt Disney Treasures collection now that I have more of them. And since I've already reviewed Mickey Mouse in Living Color as the first episode, I figured I should go back and review the earliest black and white Mickey cartoons for episode 2. So this will be a lot harder to pull off because, while not all the black and white Mickey cartoons are bad, some are really boring or painful to watch or listen to. Not to mention that they are the most outdated Mickey Mouse cartoons and feature some of the naughtiest or most offensive content to ever be associated with Mickey Mouse. Like, some of these cartoons even made me feel kind of uncomfortable, and I'm usually one who can watch outdated cartoons and not feel too offended, but there's something about some of these, though, where it's like, okay, these went too far. So, overall, it's a decent collection, but it annoys me how the cartoons aren't in chronological order. For instance, some of the earliest Mickey cartoons are not included on Volume 1, but are included on Volume 2 instead. It would have been nice to watch these from beginning to end, seeing how Mickey's primitive cartoons got a little better each time before, finally getting his first colored cartoon, where ever since then his cartoons were more consecutively better. So, my biggest problem with a lot of the earliest Mickey cartoons, aside from the ear-piercing sound effects and voice quality, it's gotta be how too many of them feel too similar or formulaic. Almost all of them can be summed up as Mickey goofing around, finding a random musical instrument, leading to like him or some other character playing it, followed by a long sequence of characters dancing around like idiots, very noodly animations, with annoying clopping sound effects and ear-grinding music in the background. I don't know. And then if it's one that features Minnie Mouse, chances are it's going to involve her getting in trouble, like getting kidnapped by Pete or some crazy animal, and Mickey has to jump in and rescue her. So Minnie has clearly come a long way since her one-note roles in the original cartoons. Too bad she's only used for like preschooler shows nowadays, along with most every other Mickey Mouse character. I mean, I wish they would go back to the way it was in the 1940s, or the closest thing we ever got to a revival of the 40s cartoons were in the late 90s and early 2000s, when we got Mickey Mouse Works or House of Mouse. And too bad that we don't have like an official way to watch that. Like, Disney Plus doesn't have it. There's no DVD or Blu-ray releases for the whole series. That's a real shame. Like, I never liked them, but for those who even like the Mickey Mouse Rudish shorts, or as it's later been reinvented as The Wonderful World of Mickey, that finally came to an end. So, and it sounds like the only plans they have for Mickey Mouse right now is they announced that they're bringing back the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse for new episodes, and it's like, oh god, more preschooler content. And then they're also making another stop-motion special made by Stupid Buddy Studio, where last year they made a really cheesy kids' Christmas special, and so now we're getting a Halloween one. Wow, it's like they're copying off SpongeBob. SpongeBob had a stop-motion Christmas special, followed by a Halloween one, and now Mickey Mouse is copying off that. Sorry to go off topic a little bit, but so because these volumes do not have the cartoons in chronological order, and because my DVD ripper really shuffled around when copying the footage onto my hard drive, this review will be in a very mixed up episode order, with cartoons from both volumes 1 and 2 being mixed around. So sorry for the messy ordering, it's not my fault. But anyways, let's get started. I guess I'll start off with what I consider to be the worst Mickey Mouse cartoon ever made, The Barn Dance. The Barn Dance is one of the most depressing Mickey Mouse cartoons I've ever seen. Everyone just felt very out of character. In this short, Mickey tries taking Minnie to a barn dance, but she immediately tries ditching him because Pete has a car, until Pete's car breaks down and she crawls back to Mickey. I'll never understand why old cartoons thought a woman only being into a man for their car was ever funny. It's not. It just makes them look shallow and horrible. So, also, the fact that Minnie was willing to date Pete, you know, the guy who was constantly kidnapping her, trying to kiss or hug her against her will. Why is it that characters like Pepe Le Pew have been banned from Looney Tunes, yet Pete is allowed to hang around Mickey Mouse in preschooler shows? What the heck? So, after Minnie ditches Pete and returns to Mickey, they go to the dance, but Mickey keeps stepping on Minnie's feet while dancing. Mickey tries avoiding this by tying balloons to himself, but Pete pops Mickey's balloons, causing Minnie to shun him, and for some reason she just starts dancing with Pete. The short abruptly ends with Mickey crying. Wow, what the hell were the studio thinking when they made this short? I mean, was this supposed to be funny or entertaining? This was horrible. 1 out of 10. Man, not even during the colored review of Mickey Mouse cartoons did I give any of them a 1 out of 10. If at worst, like 3 out of 10. But yeah, this is the first time I've given a Mickey Mouse cartoon a 1 out of 10. I hated it. The Opry House. There really isn't much to say about this one. Minnie does a belly dance and Mickey plays a piano. That's it. 3 out of 10. When the Cat's Away. This is a rather quirky Mickey and Minnie cartoon. Not much happens, but it's one of the only few cartoons where Mickey and Minnie are portrayed to be actually mouse-sized. When a cat leaves his house, Mickey, Minnie, and their mice friends sneak in and party while the cat's away. It has some fun visual gags, like Mickey using Swiss cheese to keep a piano's music going. You'd think the cartoon would end generically with the cat returning home and scaring the mice away, or attacking the mice and having to have Mickey fight the cat and save everyone, but nope. It just abruptly ends with Mickey and Minnie dancing and kissing. The cat doesn't even come back home or anything, so not great, but it's far from the worst Mickey cartoon. Probably 5 out of 10. The Barnyard Battle. Nothing really happens. Mickey and an army of mice fight Pete and an army of cats on a barn. 3 out of 10. The Plowboy. Another bad Mickey cartoon. Mickey tries plowing a farm, and Minnie apparently, but she slaps him. A bunch of animals do stupid dances and make ear-piercing noises throughout. Mickey's plow breaks, so he uses a pig. Poor thing. 2 out of 10. I know Iwerks is like a very underappreciated artist. You know, a lot of people say he's more of the creator of Mickey Mouse than Walt Disney himself. He is considered the co-creator of Mickey Mouse, but he never really got the credit he deserved. But I'm sorry, I think Iwerks honestly made some of the worst Mickey Mouse cartoons. Like, some of the earliest ones were when Iwerks was still there, and those are, I usually notice, like, the ones that have his name on it. Those are the ones that I usually absolutely hate. Mickey's Choo Choo. A very generic Mickey cartoon. I promise there are some good ones down the line, but for right now, we got a lot of bad Iwerks ones to get out of the way. So in this one, Mickey has a living train for some reason. Minnie pulls out a fiddle. Mickey dances and abuses animals. Mickey takes Minnie for a ride, but it gets loose. Mickey ends up chasing the train after Minnie. They end up lazily recycling footage from a scene in Plane Crazy, and the short abruptly ends with Mickey and Minnie on handcarts. 3 out of 10. The Jazz Fool. Okay guys, you're never gonna guess what happens in this one. A bunch of animals dance around like idiots. Mickey pulls out a piano and plays it. The only thing that really stands out about this is Mickey getting his butt bit by the piano at the end. Otherwise, this is a painfully boring, overdone Mickey cartoon. 2 out of 10. Jungle Rhythm. What is even going on anymore? This just reminds me of why I hate the iWorks Mickey Mouse cartoons. They're all practically the same thing. They may be 7 minutes long, but they drag on. Nothing but 7 long, painful minutes of characters and animals dancing like idiots to torturous sound effects and music. It's no wonder people thought Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs would be a disaster when it was first announced. They probably thought it would be over an hour of garbage like this, and thank goodness the movie turned out to be a smash hit. And it set like the Disney empire to where it is now. Well, that might be disappointing depending on who you ask. Disney is not as great as it used to be, but either way, we got a lot of great films thanks to Snow White's success. And now, don't get me wrong, I love Mickey Mouse, but I'm more of a fan of his cartoons from the mid-1930s through the 40s. I find looking back at like his earliest cartoons to be really painful to watch, and there are some good ones in there. I hate how we haven't really gotten to any of them yet, but they are coming, I promise. But I just find it hard to believe that in the 1920s, Mickey cartoons were popular. Apparently, Mickey's cartoons really stood out among the crowds during the Great Depression. People found these cartoons relatable somehow, and there are some where I definitely can see the appeal, but they're some of the more later black and white cartoons. But I can only imagine how much worse cartoons by other studios must have been around the time, if they considered the Mickey Mouse cartoons good in comparison. As bad as these Mickey Mouse cartoons were, admittedly, they're still better than the black and white cartoons that Looney Tunes started off with, and I think Looney Tunes actually had a late start. I think, they started around 1933, where the earliest Mickey Mouse cartoons started off in, the 1920s, and so Looney Tunes started off as very cheap imitations of Mickey Mouse cartoons, and they had characters who were flat-out rip-offs of Mickey and Minnie, like the character Foxy and his girlfriend. It's just Mickey Mouse and Minnie, but as foxes. And so, it's amazing to see how much better off Looney Tunes got after Porky Pig was created and spun off into his own shorts, along with the introduction to characters like Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny down the line. Helped give Looney Tunes its own identity instead of being just another cheap Mickey Mouse ripoff. But yeah, Jungle Rhythm, it was painfully dull and very boring and stupid. 2 out of 10. Wild Waves. Another really stupid and repetitive one. This one takes place on a beach where Minnie tries going for a swim but nearly drowns. Mickey saves her but she starts crying. Mickey tries cheering her up by playing music, and we get more drawn-out scenes of animals dancing like idiots. That's it. 2 out of 10. I am so sick of these. Just Mickey. More like just plain stupid. This one is nothing but Mickey playing ear-screeching violin music while making strange faces, crying, and making weird noises throughout. 1 out of 10. The Barnyard Concert. Yeah, a lot of these early cartoons have a lot to do with barns or barn animals. It's just Mickey trying to compose for barn animals, and a lot of repetitive gags drag on. At least Mickey's first colored cartoon, The Band Concert, felt like this cartoon done right. 2 out of 10. The Cactus Kid. I swear, there are already 2 other black and white Mickey cartoons with the exact same plot, with a very similar setting. Sorry if I sound uncultured here, but Mickey appears as what I think is a Hispanic cowboy. Minnie runs a bar but gets kidnapped by Pete for no reason. Mickey rides Horace Horsecollar to save her. The end. It's a very generic Mickey saves Minnie plot. 2 out of 10. The Shindig. Hey, remember when Horace and Clarabelle Cow were a couple? Because Disney sure as hell doesn't. It seems like Goofy's been dating her. Anyways, Mickey and Minnie and company basically go to, well, a shindig. And Minnie plays the piano while we get really weird and creepy moments of Mickey pulling on her underwear. What the hell, Mickey? It's mostly another drawn-out dancing animals cartoon. Pretty boring overall. 2 out of 10. The Picnic. Oh look, an early Mickey cartoon with Pluto in it. But he's Minnie's dog for some reason. And Jesus, what is with those giant fleas he has? This one really isn't that special. Mickey just takes Minnie and Pluto on a picnic. Mickey and Minnie start dancing. Meanwhile, animals start raiding their picnic, but that doesn't really matter because their picnic gets ruined by rain anyways, and the ending gag with Pluto using his tail as a windshield wiper was kind of funny, but 3 out of 10. Traffic troubles. This really feels like a rehash of Mickey's Choo Choo Train, but with Mickey as a cab driver instead. Once again, he picks up Minnie, but the cab runs loose, and once again, it chases a cow. 1 out of 10 for lazily rehashing an overused plot. The Castaway. It starts off seeming like it might go a little differently from other Mickey cartoons, as we see Mickey drift onto an island to try to survive, but then he randomly finds a piano and starts playing it, and we get more animals dancing like idiots. My god, another cliche and repetitive Mickey cartoon. 2 out of 10. Fishing around. Well, finally, a Mickey cartoon that doesn't feel like a repetitive rehash with stupid dancing or musical instruments being pulled out of nowhere, but it's still pretty average. Mickey and Pluto sneak onto a pond despite the no fishing sign. Pluto gets messed with by a bunch of fish. An old man shows up at the end and reveals he's the sheriff, and Mickey and Pluto make a run for it. 4 out of 10. The Beach Party. This one feels like a rehash of The Picnic, except Horace and Clarabelle are added to the mix. Apparently Horace smokes. So this one luckily doesn't focus on characters dancing like idiots, and relies more on visual gags. Some of them are okay, but a lot of them are food related, and a lot of these were done much better in later Mickey cartoons. So the short ends with an octopus attacking everyone. Yeah, I'd be scared too if that thing came charging at me, but... so the octopus gets defeated. The end. Once again, nothing we haven't really seen before. 3 out of 10. The Barnyard Broadcast. Once again, another uneventful barn-related one, mostly involving characters playing instruments, as Mickey and company try operating a musical radio broadcast at a barn, only to get interrupted by the antics of little kittens. 2 out of 10. The Mad Dog. Finally! A black and white Mickey cartoon that's actually decent. While it isn't anything amazing, it's mostly a short about Pluto swallowing a bar of soap during a bath. Mickey ends up chasing after Pluto as the town mistakes Pluto for a rabid dog. This short surprisingly shows a more dramatic side to Mickey as he breaks into tears trying to plead Pete the dog catcher to not shoot his dog. This might be the earliest Mickey Mouse cartoon to actually have some emotion put into it, where most of them were just silly nonsense, and then this is one where it felt like it was trying to make audiences feel for something, and you could tell Walt was really trying hard to make people feel sorry for Mickey during this.
Don't shoot him! He's my dog! He's a good dog! He's not mad! He's not mad!
Luckily, things work out in the end for the mouse and dog. Overall, it's a cute and emotional cartoon. 6 out of 10. Barnyard Olympics. Oh look, yet another barn one. This one isn't too bad, but it's nothing you haven't really seen before in other cartoons. Just Mickey competing in a triathlon on a barn, while a cheating Pete being his main rival. And it's cute how we see Minnie and Clarabelle rooting for Mickey, and of course, the underdog, or Mouse in this case, triumphs in the end and wins the gold. So nothing special, but it's definitely better than a lot of the other cartoons I've gone over so far. So 5 out of 10. Blue Rhythm. This is a strange one. It's mostly just another drawn-out musical act, Mickey playing a piano, Minnie singing horribly, and for some reason, Pluto is anthropomorphic in this one? What was the deal with that? The scene with Mickey dancing with Minnie is kind of cute, but meh, this one isn't that great. 3 out of 10. Building a Building. To think, this short setting was used in the level Timeless River from Kingdom Hearts 2. This one's honestly not bad. It's kind of cute, actually. Mickey works in construction, while Minnie goes around selling lunches to the workers. Pete is a bully in this short and steals Mickey's lunch. Minnie takes pity on Mickey and offers him a free meal. Pete becomes a creep and tries kidnapping Minnie, only for Mickey to step in to free her. What makes this a more entertaining Mickey Saves Minnie cartoon is how Minnie actually helps to fight off Pete in this cartoon. So it's an escape between her and Mickey working together. That's nice, instead of it just being Mickey doing all the work like usual. And just don't pause during the part where Mickey shoves a jackhammer into Pete's pants. So after they defeat Pete, they ride away happily. It's a basic but decent short. 6 out of 10. Camping Out. This one feels like a rehash of the beach party and the picnic, but it's slightly more entertaining. Mickey, Minnie, and Co. go camping, but get attacked by what can only be described as mosquitoes from hell. I always kind of like cartoons where characters have to evade or fight off swarms of insects or something that can form into deadly shapes and formations. I don't know why, I always found that entertaining. And this cartoon definitely has more action to it than the beach party or the picnic, so I'd say out of those three, which feel very similar, this is definitely the better of those three. 5 out of 10. Okay, just a heads up. This next set of cartoons will be From the Vault shorts. Now, the term From the Vaults was used in these Walt Disney Treasures DVDs to describe cartoons that have been pulled due to controversial or outdated offensive content. And so, for the purposes of preserving these cartoons, they were released from the vault for these DVDs. Probably the main reason why you'll never see a lot of these DVDs get re-released nowadays, because Disney is just not as flexible as they were back then, where at least back then they had the nerve to at least establish that these cartoons contain offensive content, but it's important to remember them. So, yeah, this will contain content that people might not find suitable. So first we have The Haunted House, one of the only few of iWorks Mickey cartoons I actually recall enjoying. I remembered seeing this one on an old Donald Duck rental VHS tape. I can't remember the name of it, but it contained spooky-themed cartoons. It was something like Donald Duck Tales, I can't remember. Donald Spooky Tales, I can't remember. But anyways, the thing that makes this short so controversial is the part where the lights go out, Mickey holds out his hands and cries, "Mammy," which was a reference to a minstrel show or a blackface routine. I can't remember the name of the guy, but like there was a famous guy who did blackface back then, and apparently people thought he was funny back then until people realized how racist it was. So, as a kid, I never realized this scene was a reference to something so controversial. I thought it was just Mickey crying for his mommy because he was afraid of the dark or something, but I mean, that was part of the joke, but I didn't realize he was saying mammy. I thought he was saying mommy. But so, in this short, Mickey stumbles into a haunted house during a stormy night. He gets captured by a robed skeleton and is forced to play the piano or organ for him and his skeleton friends. And I always got to laugh when Mickey said, "Yes, ma'am." I don't know why. That always cracked me up. And so, the short mostly feels like a sequel to the first Silly Symphony, The Skeleton Dance. It even recycles the same skeleton designs and animations. I don't even know which came first, this or The Skeleton Dance. You know, this is why I wish Disney would release these in, like, chronological order on Disney Plus or something, so you can actually see Walt Disney from beginning to the end and seeing, like, how the short started and all that. That would have been nice, but eventually, Mickey makes a run for it and escapes, and overall, it's a spooky yet silly short, which likely inspired another spooky-themed Mickey cartoon that we'll get to later in this video. 6 out of 10. The Moose Hunt. What makes this short so controversial is for the same reason as The Haunted House, another Mammy reference. When Mickey asks Pluto to do tricks, he asks him to speak, in which Pluto kneels down, holds out his paws, and shouts, "Mammy." Otherwise, this is just a silly cartoon of Mickey and Pluto going moose hunting and failing. It has some very bizarre scenes, like Pluto finding a branch and carrying it in his mouth, only for Mickey to mistake Pluto for a moose. He shoots him, only for Pluto to fake his death. Along with the ending, which is really weird, where Mickey starts flying Pluto like an airplane to escape the moose. This Mickey cartoon honestly feels more like a Looney Tunes short. 5 out of 10. The Delivery Boy. I'm honestly not sure why this one is considered controversial. I couldn't find anything that would have classified this as an out-of-the-vault cartoon, but otherwise, it's a painfully average Mickey and Minnie cartoon. Mickey is a delivery boy who drops in on Minnie. Mickey's package bursts open, revealing a bunch of instruments that scatter everywhere. As Mickey, Minnie, and the other animals start playing and dancing to the instruments, it's as painfully generic as it gets for these old cartoons, but it's not as annoying as some of the other ones, but it still has some of the annoying tropes you would get from these old ones. 3 out of 10. The Grocery Boy. The controversial scene during this short involves a bus getting covered in soot, giving it blackface. Otherwise, this is just an overall boring short with Mickey as a grocery worker, getting a call by for some reason stuck-up Minnie, wanting Mickey to deliver her groceries immediately. Chaos ensues. The end. 3 out of 10. Mickey in Arabia. I'm sure you can take a look at these characters and not have to make a second guess as to why this one is controversial. Mickey and Minnie are portrayed as tourists visiting an unspecified Arabic town, only for Minnie to get kidnapped by Pete for the millionth time, and Mickey has to save her. Despite the painfully dull and done-to-death plot, I at least like how this one changed up the scenery, making it feel more like an adventure cartoon, with like Mickey and Minnie running through palace towers and stuff like that, and so it's not something you see much association with Mickey Mouse anymore. Heck, not even a lot of the colored cartoons of Mickey Mouse had to deal with this kind of adventure, and so yeah, some of the black and white cartoons of Mickey Mouse had more of an adventurous feel to them, and I always love seeing a more adventurous version of Mickey. It's too bad you don't see much of it, and it's like the only time you do, it's part of a preschool show, for crying out loud. I want to see Mickey on actual threatening adventures again, not safe preschooler adventures. 4 out of 10. Mickey's Good Deed. The most controversial thing about this short is a few of the toys shown in this appear to be outdated black caricatures or stereotypes. That and a naughty pig child gets spanked towards the end, but honestly, he deserved it. Otherwise, this is another one of the few surprisingly decent Mickey Mouse cartoons in black and white. In my opinion, this might even be one of the best black and white Mickey cartoons. This is overall a sad yet wholesome Mickey and Pluto cartoon, and it also happens to be a Christmas cartoon. In this short, we see Mickey and Pluto struggling outside on a winter's night of Christmas Eve. A spoiled pig child wants a dog for Christmas, and the kid's dad orders his butler to get one. The butler offers to buy Pluto off Mickey, but Mickey refuses. Mickey eventually sees a cat mourning the loss of her husband, along with crying over not being able to get anything for her kids for Christmas. Mickey feels saddened by the sight, and makes the tough choice to sell Pluto, so he can use that money not for himself, but to give it to the struggling family so they can have a great Christmas. What Mickey did for that family was really nice, but you can't help but feel sad for the sacrifice Mickey had to make, giving up his best friend and his dog, and to be left to struggle on his own instead of struggling with his dog. Meanwhile, poor Pluto gets abused by that monster of a child, causing the kid's actions be more reckless than before. Eventually, the kid's dad orders the butler to get rid of Pluto. The short ends with Mickey and Pluto joyfully reuniting. It's overall a decent Christmas cartoon, and a surprisingly emotional cartoon for a series mostly known for silly shenanigans. 7 out of 10. Oh man, right after reviewing a pretty good Mickey Mouse cartoon, now we're down to one of the most controversial ones ever made. In this cartoon, Mickey and pals pull on a minstrel show of a play called Uncle Tom's Cabin, and Mickey wears blackface. It was basically like some kind of slave story where the main character was supposed to be playing a slave, was always played by a white man in blackface. Yeah, it's really messed up. It's like, if you really wanted to tell a slave story, they should have hired a black man to be the star of the show. But so anyways, Mickey wears blackface in this cartoon. Yep, we've seen cartoons of Mickey that had blackface in it, but now he's flat out wearing it. And yeah, I can see why this is a cartoon that Disney would rather forget. I'm shocked they even mentioned the cartoon in their Mickey Mouse documentary on Disney Plus from 2022, and it's really hard to take this cartoon seriously when the characters are doing such heavily frowned upon stuff throughout. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. 1 out of 10. The Steeplechase. The controversial thing of this one is the fact that Mickey is working with 2 stable boys who are heavily racist caricatures of African Americans. The short itself is nothing special. Mickey is relying on a horse to win a race, but the horse gets drunk. Mickey has the 2 stable boys dress up as the horse, as Mickey enters them in the race and wins. 2 out of 10. Shanghai. Not to be confused with a much superior SpongeBob episode. I'm not sure why this one is listed as a controversial Mickey cartoon. There is a brief moment where Pete gets soot on his face, but I feel like it happens too quickly to be considered a blackface joke. It's barely noticeable. If anything, I find the way he handled Minnie more offensive. Seriously, how was Pete considered suitable for preschooler shows when this is his past? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Pete, you know, like, I think he's one of the best characters in, like, Goof Troop, or, you know, his scenes in, like, a Goofy movie are pretty memorable, and, like, he's a good villain character, in a lot of Mickey cartoons, but I just don't get why, like, they find characters like Pepe Le Pew offensive, but Pete gets a pass. No, I'm not saying I want Pete to get banned, but So the cartoon starts off with no explanation. Mickey and Minnie are captured by Pete, who happens to be a pirate in this cartoon. Mickey breaks free and spends most of the cartoon fighting off Pete and his crew. So yeah, not a whole lot to this short. It's nothing like new or nothing you've never seen before, done better in other cartoons. But the steering wheel kiss at the end between Mickey and Minnie was kind of a cute way to end it. 4 out of 10. Mickey's Man Friday. While most people consider Mickey's Melodrama to be his most offensive cartoon, I honestly think that award goes to this one. This one's worse. In this one, Mickey stumbles upon island cannibals who are after him. Mickey ends up taking in a friendlier native, makes him his slave, and names him Friday, as they fight off the hostile cannibals and escape the island together. Yeah, there's no defending this one. Mickey flat out meets a black character, and what's the first thing he does? He gives him a name and starts ordering him around. This is just wrong. 1 out of 10. Well, we're done for some of the controversial ones for now, but eventually we are going to probably come back to a few more that are controversial, and I'll make sure to give a heads up. But for right now, here we have Giant Land. So this was basically just a precursor to much better cartoons we got down the line, including The Brave Little Tailor and Mickey and the Beanstalk, which recycled a lot of ideas and gags from this short in particular, but they made them a lot better. Despite that, this was still a decent short for its time, really giving off a sense of scale, as Mickey tells the orphan mice the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, but with himself in the starring role, as he gets chased by a giant in the giant's castle. I do think The Brave Little Tailor and Mickey and the Beanstalk did a better job at telling a story of Mickey fighting off or escaping a giant, but still not bad for an old black and white Mickey Mouse cartoon. 6 out of 10. Gulliver Mickey. While this one does have a minor blackface joke in it, that aside, this is also another Mickey short that was featured as a level as part of Kingdom Hearts 2's Timeless River. So this short feels like a direct continuation of Giant Land, in which Mickey tells the orphans another story, but in this case it's Gulliver's Travels. Unlike Giant Land, where Mickey was facing a giant, in this one, Mickey's the giant. As he gets tied down by the little townspeople, Mickey tries making a run for it, and eventually he ends up trying to save the town from, get this, a giant spider attack. I don't know why. The spider kind of looks like Pete. I can't help but get a laugh out of Mickey's reaction to getting a giant arrow shot at his butt. Yeah, this is a strange but okay short. 5 out of 10. Mickey Cut-Ups. This is a very simple cartoon that starts off with Mickey mowing a yard. He and Minnie get a cute little dance together, and Pluto starts chasing a cat and ends up dragging the mower around. Not much happens. There are a few funny little sight gags, but it's kind of cute overall, but I'd give it no more than 3 out of 10. Mickey Steps Out. So yeah, this short ends with another unfunny mammy joke. Not much happens in the short. Get this, as if we haven't seen this enough already. Mickey meets up with Minnie, she plays the piano, he starts dancing, and Pluto crashes the place while chasing a cat. The only thing that really stood out about this one was the fact that it made me go like, oh, so this is where that old haters gonna hate gif came from. You'd only know if you grew up in the 2000s, I guess. 3 out of 10. Mickey's Follies. Another painful to watch iWork short. More stupid dancing, clop clop noises, and we have to listen to Mickey singing in a very annoying voice. 1 out of 10. Mickey's Gala Premiere. I really don't know what to think of this one. It really feels like a cop-out. The short seems to be Walt Studio reflecting on Mickey Mouse's growing popularity at the time by showing how even Hollywood celebrities love Mickey Mouse and consider him a star. So we see caricatures gathering to see a premiere of a cartoon starring Mickey and Minnie. However, the short turns out to be just a dream by Mickey, kind of ruining the charm of this short and the point of it. That, and there are much better Disney shorts out there that parody Golden Age stars, like Mickey's Polo Team or the Donald Duck short Autograph Hound. So, it's not great, but it's not terrible. I'd probably give it 4 out of 10 just for how underwhelming it turned out. Mickey's Nightmare. Now, this is kind of a mean-spirited short. It's the idea of, we see how Mickey is just so in love with Minnie, and then he falls asleep and has a nightmare that he gets married with her and has a bunch of kids, and the kids are a nightmare to deal with, causing Mickey to not want to marry her anymore. So, I don't know, kind of mean-spirited for what's considered like one of the longest-lasting cartoon couples ever. So, yeah, I don't know, 2 out of 10 maybe. Mickey's Orphans, another skit that was used as a setting in Kingdom Hearts 2's Timeless River. In this skit, we see Mickey and Minnie living together around Christmas time when a mysterious cat lady leaves her babies on Mickey's doorstep. The babies start wrecking the place. Yeah, there really isn't much of this short. It feels like a more chaotic version of Mickey's Good Deed, except Mickey's Good Deed just makes everything worse. 3 out of 10. Mickey's Review. For the most part, this short is forgettably generic, but the one thing that stands out about it was that this marked the first appearance of Dippy Dog, who would later be reintroduced as Goofy. Here is where we first heard Goofy's infectious laugh. Oddly enough, he was an old man in this cartoon, or an old dog, I guess, but otherwise, the rest of the cartoon is stuff we've already seen. Characters playing music and dancing, only for the show to get wrecked by kittens. Nothing new. 3 out of 10. Mickey's Service Station. I guess I was wrong. I said in my review for the colored Mickey cartoons that Mickey's Fire Brigade was the first cartoon to pair Mickey with Donald and Goofy, but actually that honor goes to Mickey's Service Station. This cartoon is a simple but silly one where Mickey, Donald, and Goofy work in car repairs. Pete comes in and tells them his car is making a strange noise, and he threatens them to fix it. The trio end up hearing squeaking sounds that play to the tune of Yankee Doodle. They end up going mad over trying to stop the sound source to the point of dismantling the car bit by bit, just to find out the source of the sound wasn't the car, it was just a cricket that was inside the car. The gang panic to repair the car and make a run for it as the car acts up on Pete. It's overall a pretty silly, funny cartoon. 6 out of 10. Orphans Benefit. Do I really need to review this one again? Because, yeah, this was one of the few colored cartoons that was actually based on one of the black and white cartoons. There was a shot-for-shot remake of this one, and I already covered it in the colored one. But anyways, yeah, it's mostly Mickey and Donald putting on a show for the orphan mice, and they keep heckling Donald Duck, making him angry, and so it could be considered like nothing new, but yeah, Donald shenanigans were kind of funny, so 6 out of 10. Pioneer Days, another controversial Mickey cartoon due to its villainous portrayal of Native Americans. The short features Mickey and Minnie and others as a band of pioneers, only to get attacked by Indians. Minnie gets kidnapped, again, and Mickey has to save her. Well, at least she was able to break free and scare off Mickey's attacker. I honestly can't help but laugh at Mickey's response to getting attacked by one of the Indians. Like, just what he says just cracks me up. I just can't help but laugh at how intense this scene gets out of nowhere. Just Mickey's, like, silly response just makes the scene even funnier.
You big palooka!
Overall, it's nothing special, but it's not that bad. 5 out of 10. Plain Crazy. I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but while Steamboat Willie is credited as the first Mickey Mouse cartoon released in theaters, Plain Crazy is actually the first one ever made. Despite its historical significance to Mickey, I honestly hate this one. Some of the flying scenes are well animated, but Mickey is very unlikable in this cartoon, with the way he tries forcing Minnie to kiss him and even tries scaring her into it. Mickey also had a strangely different appearance in this cartoon compared to most of the other black and white cartoons. He only had this style in like one other cartoon, and it was his second cartoon, the Gallopin' Gancho, I think is what it was called. But so yeah, in those cartoons he had buggier eyeballs and he didn't wear shoes or gloves. According to Walt Disney, this earliest incarnation of Mickey didn't have those features because he was too poor to even afford clothing at the time. So, it may be Mickey's first cartoon, but it's honestly one of the worst in my opinion. 2 out of 10. Puppy Love. I honestly don't like this one. It makes Mickey and Minnie look toxic. It starts off cute enough with Mickey and Minnie having a date, singing a little song while their dogs hang out with each other. However, Minnie's dog Fifi eats the box of chocolates Mickey meant to give Minnie. To try to cover it up, she puts in a bone. So when Mickey gives her the box of chocolates, Minnie is offended that Mickey gave her a bone. She's too furious to let Mickey try explaining himself. She and Mickey get into a fight, and she kicks Mickey out of her house. So Minnie later does find out Fifi was responsible for the whole mishap. She apologizes to Mickey, and the two get back together. It does have a happy ending, but it still wasn't pleasant to see Mickey and Minnie get so angry over a little misunderstanding. 3 out of 10. Musical Farmer, another generic one. Mickey and Minnie dancing on a farm with musical instruments, other animals dance. A chicken lays a giant egg, that's it. 2 out of 10. Trader Mickey. I think the makers of this DVD collection forgot to include one of these cartoons in their Out of the Vault section, because this is another outdated and offensive Mickey cartoon. This one is painfully uncomfortable to watch. Mickey is a trader, but crashes on an island full of cannibals. Mickey shows them the instruments he was shipping over, and a majority of the cartoon is half-naked cannibals playing and dancing to music. 1 out of 10. The Wayward Canary? More like the Wayward Canaries. Nothing special, just Mickey surprising Minnie with a birdcage with a canary and its babies. The babies get loose and get covered in ink, making a mess across Minnie's house, as Mickey, Minnie, and Pluto chase them all over. 4 out of 10. Mickey's Pal Pluto. Apparently Orphans Benefit wasn't the only colored Mickey cartoon to be a remake of an old black and white one. There was a cartoon called Lend a Paw, which was an award-winning cartoon of Pluto being jealous of a cat Mickey takes in, only for Pluto to save it from drowning at the end. That cartoon was actually a remake of the cartoon Mickey's Pal Pluto. It mostly is the exact same story as its remake, with a few differences. The biggest differences in this cartoon is that Minnie is involved in the plot with Mickey, and there are many kittens instead of just one. It still contains very similar scenes, though, like the cats being rescued from a bag, nearly being drowned at the beginning, except in this case, Mickey and Minnie are the ones who found it instead of Pluto. And we still got similarities, like Pluto being jealous of the cat and being pestered by his conscience, along with saving the cat at the end. Despite how there's less characters in the remake, I kind of prefer the colored remade version instead, but the original is still fine overall. 6 out of 10. Mickey's Mechanical Man. Basically the original Real Steel, I guess. Mickey builds a mechanical fighter and it has to fight a gorilla. That's it. 4 out of 10. Playful Pluto. On the surface, this cartoon may not seem so special, but this cartoon is a big deal to Disney historians, as it fooled audiences into believing cartoon characters could be living beings. There's a specific gag in this cartoon where Pluto gets stuck to flypaper, and audiences got a good laugh out of Pluto's reactions with his facial expressions along with the timing. Back then, facial expressions and timing in cartoons, they weren't that great, but this was one of the first cartoons to show how timing along with great facial expressions can really add to the comedy and believability of cartoon characters. This cartoon cemented Pluto as more than just that dog in Mickey Mouse cartoons. It cemented Pluto as his own star in general, proving that animated expressions can speak louder than words. Despite this iconic landmark in animation, the short itself is overall pretty average, as Pluto shenanigans cause a fly outbreak in Mickey's house. Mickey tries taking them out as Pluto accidentally gets stuck in the flypaper. It's not an amazing cartoon, but the flypaper gag did make this cartoon stand out, and there's no denying its historical significance to animation. 6 out of 10. Mickey's Steamroller. In this cartoon, Mickey operates a steamroller and stumbles upon Minnie, who's looking after her 2 nephews. Mickey offers the kids and Minnie a ride on the steamroller. We get some cute and playful scenes of Mickey flirting with Minnie. However, the kids end up taking control of the steamroller, and Mickey has to chase them down. It's overall a cute short. 6 out of 10. Mickey Plays Papa. Oh great, another cartoon where Mickey has to look after an abandoned orphan. Gee, I haven't seen that before. At least the animation was better, and there were more gags in this one, some involving Mickey doing celebrity impressions, including Charlie Chaplin. But it all feels too familiar to many of the other skits of Mickey babysitting. 4 out of 10. Mickey's Kangaroo. This was Mickey Mouse's last black and white cartoon. Although this was released after Mickey first jumped to color, there isn't much of this cartoon, but it's still cute and entertaining, as Mickey gets a boxing mother kangaroo and a Joey in the mail. Mickey wants to playfully box the kangaroo, but gets his butt kicked. I'd say the only thing I don't like about this cartoon was how Pluto had sinister monologuing, and I don't know, that just felt weird. Like hearing like the inside of Pluto's head and how he can speak in English. I don't know. It's one thing to have him have like a conscience like in some of the cartoons, but having it where you're flat out hearing his thoughts and they sound so sinister with him sharing about how much he doesn't like the Joey and how he wants to get rid of it, it kind of annoyed me, but luckily Pluto does warm up to the little guy in the end. So basically, this feels similar to another short called Mickey's Elephant, but this one is much better and doesn't have a mean-spirited ending. 6 out of 10. Steamboat Willie. Here we go, the iconic screen debut of Mickey Mouse, despite being the third Mickey cartoon ever produced. Even if you've never seen this short before, how could you have never seen the iconic shot of Mickey steering the boat and whistling? It's played in front of like nearly every Disney movie since Tangled. Also, you can find the short on Disney Plus. So you'd think with how much I dislike most of the black and white Mickey cartoons that I'd actually dislike this one too. Actually, I find it okay overall. Sure, a lot of the sound effects and music are terrible. They did not age well. They're pretty ear grating. But this was the first cartoon to have pre-recorded sounds after all. The short mostly contains Mickey working for Pete, who is the captain of a boat. Mickey gets caught steering the boat, and Pete orders Mickey to get back to work. Mickey notices Minnie trying to get on the boat, and Mickey lets her on. A goat ends up eating Minnie's sheet music, so Mickey starts grinding the goat's tail to have the music notes play out of the goat's mouth like a record player. Most of the short is Mickey just abusing animals to play music. It's kind of dark, but I couldn't help but laugh at how messed up it was. In the end, Mickey gets punished by Pete for goofing around and is forced to peel potatoes. I'm kind of glad that this one was released first, because while it might not have been intended to be Mickey's first cartoon, this short made a better introduction and a better lasting impact than Plain Crazy. 6 out of 10. The Birthday Party. So apparently the cartoon Mickey's Birthday Party was actually a remake of this one. And I gotta say, the remake is so much better. I think the black and white version of it just drags on longer. And, but yeah, I had no idea that Mickey's Birthday Party was actually a remake. But yeah, I gotta say they did a good job remaking it, because I definitely look more fondly back on the remade version compared to this one. It's almost a shot-for-shot remake. There are some scenes that are taken straight from this one, but there are a few differences. But either way, I still think the remake is a lot better. I'd probably give this one 3 out of 10. The Chain Gang. This is marked as Pluto's first appearance, although it was more of a prototype for him, as there were 2 unnamed bloodhounds in this cartoon, and their designs would later become the inspiration for Pluto. For some reason, Mickey is in prison in this cartoon. He and a bunch of other inmates goof off with music and dancing until they form an escape. The first half of the cartoon is painfully boring, but the second half of the escape scene was a lot better. The cartoon abruptly ends with Mickey ending up back in prison. 3 out of 10. The Dog Napper. A rare occasion where a cartoon stars just Mickey and Donald, without Goofy. In this short, Pete dognaps Minnie's dog, and Officer Mickey and Donald are off to rescue the dog and arrest Pete. It's overall silly, but nothing special. 5 out of 10. The Duck Hunt. It's basically the Moose Hunt, but with ducks, and I don't know, somehow this was even less eventful than the Moose Hunt. At least the Moose Hunt had a few funny gags. I feel like nothing happened in this one. 2 out of 10. The Firefighters. The final cartoon on this video to be featured in Timeless River from Kingdom Hearts 2. I forgot to mention Steamboat Willie was also part of that setting, but anyways, The Firefighters is mostly Mickey trying to rescue Minnie from a fire. Nothing special, but there's some cute moments. 4 out of 10. The Gallopin' Gotcho. This one was Mickey's second produced cartoon, and is one of the only cartoons that features Mickey Mouse smoking and drinking. It's basically the same plot as The Cactus Kid, but maybe a little more entertaining. 5 out of 10. The Gorilla Mystery. Not really sure if I'd call it a mystery, but maybe a thriller. I can imagine this one might have scared young children who were exposed to it. A killer gorilla escapes. Mickey calls Minnie to warn her. She claims she isn't scared and starts taunting with an ear-piercing song. However, the gorilla breaks into Minnie's place. It kidnaps her, ties her up. Mickey has to adventure through Minnie's house and save her from the mad gorilla. It's definitely a thrilling cartoon. 5 out of 10. The Carnival Kid. You ever wondered why Mickey says hot dog a lot? Well, it's a tradition, because the Carnival Kid marked the first time Mickey ever spoke, and his first words were hot dog, as he was selling hot dogs at a carnival. Despite marking the first cartoon where Walt Disney voiced Mickey and Minnie, unfortunately, because I guess they couldn't find a female voice for her at the time, this cartoon honestly isn't that good. Mickey tries selling a hot dog to Minnie, it escapes from him. He tries serenading her later that night, but gets attacked by Pete. Yeah, I didn't like this one. 2 out of 10. The Klondike Kid. I swear, it's the Cactus Kid and Gallopin' Gotcho all over again, but in the Klondikes. Once again, Minnie gets kidnapped by Pete, and Mickey has to save her. I mean, Mickey's interactions with Minnie were kind of cute, but I can't help but be annoyed with seeing the same plot done to death. 3 out of 10. The Mad Doctor. Apparently this one was considered very dark and was even pulled from theaters back then for being too scary for kids. I really don't think it's that bad, especially since it was all just a nightmare in the end. What a cop-out ending. Gamers of Epic Mickey 1 and 2 should be familiar with this short, or the character at least. So in this short, Pluto gets kidnapped by the title Mad Doctor, who plans to merge Pluto with a chicken. Mickey has to sneak in, fight off skeletons, and save his dog. The short ends with Mickey getting caught and is nearly sawed in half until he wakes up realizing it was all a nightmare. The cop-out ending nearly ruins the short for me, but this short still had some stunning animation. I love the part where Mickey is slowly walking through the room. The animators really gave the scenery such a 3D illusion. 7 out of 10. The Mail Pilot. Nothing special. Mickey is an air pilot delivering mail, and he manages to turn in Pete, who is a wanted mail thief. 4 out of 10. The Pet Store. Mickey gets hired to work at a pet store. Minnie drops in, and the two start singing and dancing. A gorilla gets infatuated with Minnie and goes all King Kong on her. Mickey and the other pets fight off the gorilla. Mickey and Minnie make a run for it before the store owner gets back. It's definitely a cliche yet crazy plot. 5 out of 10. The Whoopee Party. This one is just the characters partying and occasionally shouting whoopee. Walt Disney must have loved that word, because I notice a lot of times in cartoons when the character gets excited, they'll go, whoopee! It's so... Nothing really happens in this cartoon. I remember this short was featured on an episode of The House of Mouse, where the theme was celebrations of black and white cartoons, and I think they cut out the blackface joke during that House of Mouse episode. There's a part where these living matches get their faces burnt black, and yeah. I remember seeing this on House of Mouse, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did cut that part out. So yeah, 2 out of 10. Touchdown Mickey. I'm not really a fan of football, so yeah, this short really didn't do anything for me. There wasn't really a whole lot of laughs or anything, and I mean, I'm not a sports person in general, but that doesn't mean that I can't find any good laughs or entertainment out of sport-themed episodes. I think a lot of the sport-themed Goofy cartoons are actually really funny and entertaining, but this one just did nothing for me. 2 out of 10. Two Gun Mickey. It's the Galloping Gaucho and the Cactus Kid all over again. Except in this case, Minnie's a cowgirl who claims she can take care of herself, only to get kidnapped by Pete immediately, and Mickey has to save her. So yeah, it's like they tried stepping it up by giving like Minnie pistols and giving her a more independent personality, but it just falls flat. Yeah, I don't know. I am so tired of seeing this plot done to death. 2 out of 10. Ye Olden Days. The final black and white cartoon I have to cover in this video. Despite being yet another Mickey Saves Minnie plot, this one at least spiced it up. It takes place in medieval times. Minnie is a princess, and strangely enough, Pete is the king. I guess that makes Pete Minnie's dad in this cartoon? Okay. So, Pete arranges a wedding for Minnie, and she's forced to wed Goofy. Now that is just hilarious. Minnie refuses and gets punished by being locked in a tower until the wedding starts. So, Mickey ends up climbing the tower to free her. The two mice end up getting caught, and Mickey's about to get executed, but after Minnie declares her love for Mickey, the king arranges a duel for Princess Minnie's hand, and Mickey has to fight Goofy. Of course, Mickey wins in the end, and him and Minnie live happily ever after. It may be a cliche story, but it was still a fun and action-filled adventure with Mickey and co. 7 out of 10. Well, those are my thoughts on the black and white Mickey cartoons. Yeah, there's no denying that I find a lot of these hard or very boring to watch. I definitely enjoyed Mickey Mouse in Living Color a lot better. Not all the black and white cartoons are bad, though, and you can definitely see how some of them were progressing the closer they got to, like, the mid-1930s, but these make me appreciate how much better Mickey cartoons got during the mid-1930s through the late 1940s. That was the golden age of Mickey Mouse, without a doubt. It was great to see how both the animation and storytelling really evolved past Mickey's first 15 years of cartoons, and I really think Freddie Moore deserves a lot of credit for his reinvention of Mickey Mouse with The Sorcerer's Apprentice. That version of Mickey and Friends were the best they've ever been, and I definitely noticed the drop in quality after Moore's untimely death. And I wish Disney would attempt to revive the Freddie Moore era of Mickey Mouse without dumbing him down for little kids or preschoolers. These old black and white cartoons may be crude, outdated, and sometimes might be torturous to watch, but they're still important to the history of animation and even American culture. These cartoons were here to entertain and delight in people through the Great Depression. Mickey's success led to the creation of the Silly Symphonies, which led to the creation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first full-length animated feature in color, and that success led to the Disney Empire as we know it. The Walt Disney Treasures collection is a great time capsule for these animated landmarks, and it's a shame that Disney refuses to re-release these, especially on Blu-ray. They have been bringing some of their classic animated shorts to Disney Plus since the second half of 2023, but they're still re-releasing them too little at a time. They're still very out of order, disorganized, and it's obvious they're never going to release the more controversial shorts. Why else is Song of the South still not on there? So Disney still has a long way to go when it comes to acknowledging and respecting their history, no matter how controversial it may be. I mean, whatever happened to disclaimers and all that? So I would recommend people go out and get the Walt Disney Treasure DVDs, but that's right, Disney isn't selling them anymore, and they are way too expensive to get on eBay. I mean, like I said, I spent nearly $1,000 on all the ones I got, and I wish there was a better way for people to own and watch these classics, but anyways, thanks for watching my video, guys. See you next time, and have a great day.